Or to the cloud. Oh, Liz is here. Hi, Liz. Eh, there she is.
There she is.
Hey, hello,
Hey,
hello. So, welcome everybody. We're going to get started. Somebody may join, maybe not, who knows? But
I mean, to the good. I can't hear them.
oh, you can't hear? I hear you, Liz.
Oh, now
Yeah.
it's working.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, cool. All right. So we're just going to get started. Welcome everybody to Stories and Screens. The biggest bit of news before we get into intros is that Molly is not going to be co-hosting with me anymore. She may come when she can work it into her schedule, but she's sort of shifting in what she's focusing on and is in a different work setting now. And so she's not going to be able to be as consistent with us. But the good news is that Miss Carrie over here has agreed to sign on as my ongoing co-host. And
Yay.
yeah,
We're excited. We're excited. We've been doing on some things that are coming up. So,
yeah. So, you all know who I am, but I always like to say a little bit before we get started in case somebody who doesn't know me is watching the recording. And Carrie will say a little bit too about her, and then we'll do the intro, and I'll tell you guys what it is soon that we all can share with each other because I always love to do that, something related to what we watched this time. So, but I'm Tanya Cole-Lesnick. I have a foundation of about 30 years as a psychotherapist, but about a year and a half ago, I released my license officially and I'm doing personal growth coaching. And I have all kinds of beautiful offerings now on my website. So, TanyaCole-Lesnick.com. I have done personal growth book clubs over the years. Back in the day when we did in person versions of that, I did one at Barnes and Noble and I did one in my office. And it's just always been kind of a real love for me of connecting with each other on in places of new insights, new learning about ourselves, and celebrating ourselves and connecting to other humans that are really interested in looking inward and getting to know ourselves a little bit better. So I love that. Carrie, you want to just say a little bit about you and the co-host role, and then we'll get into the intros for everybody.
yeah, sure. I'm happy to kind of help fill in the place, although I can't fill Molly's shoes exactly, but I have been helping with stories and screens behind the scenes for since its inception, really. So I'm happy to kind of be a little bit more involved and be a co-host. Like like Tanya, definitely have a lifelong learning. I studied psychology. I thought I wanted to be a therapist, and then I was like, oh, I did a job shot. I was like, oh, I don't have what it takes to do that. So I have been focusing on digital marketing now for the last I don't know 5 or 6 years. So I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, nice. Yes. And well, I'm really happy Carrie joined the team for this particular purpose. She's been on the team for a long time. Ah, there's Amy moving.
Yay!
Yay. All right, so here's the intro that I would love us all to take a turn. And this relates back to the Victoria Beckham documentary, which is what we'll be talking about. I know some of you had a chance to watch it, some didn't. All good. We can, if there's anything that you're not following for anybody, and you want a little summary, we can sort of say why we're focusing on certain things. But the intro is where do you notice tension between where you are in your life and what you think is expected of you from others? Where are you feeling? And I can start because I know sometimes it's helpful to even give that some context. So I think for me, right now, going through what I'm going through, grieving the loss of my husband from April, I tend to not be a terribly dysregulated person. I think I tend to be fairly grounded often. And I've just started to go through his things in a more intentional way with help. I have help to do that, but it's kicking some shit up. So I think to give myself permission to not be this, I think I pride myself in being somewhat even-tempered to allow myself to have some more extremes with my own emotional ups and downs. I think that's sort of where I'm at. So,
Mm.
I know it's a bit of a tricky question, but
It's-
anybody
Repeat
feel
it.
ready?
Can you repeat it once
Yeah,
more
so
for
it's
me?
like
Yeah.
it's basically what are some of the expectations you believe people have of you or the world has of you or even that you have of yourself that are not in alignment with who you really are. So,
Okay,
and I
thank
think,
you.
yeah. S- So
Okay.
it's a tricky one, but whatever comes to you, and it doesn't have to be the perfect answer either. So,
Does
I
anyone?
I can
Lori,
go.
go, Lori.
I I just it kind of it's odd because I'm going. Of course, everybody's always going through something. But by the way, I'm curious, Mom. Just
My
so we.
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
I'm.
And where are you
Uh,
calling in from, Lori?
oh, I am in a town called Paragould in Arkansas. So it's northeast Arkansas. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So it's this the question that you just were talking about right now. It's funny because I'm kind of like at an odd place right now in my mental health transitioning kind of sort of thing. But I put more expectation on myself than anybody else does. I struggle with I need to be able to fix everybody's everything. Like that's my job. And
Yeah.
I don't know that I do that very well. And then I find out that maybe I'm not needed to do that to fix everybody. I mean, like that's what I struggle most with is I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not capable of fixing things that I want to fix for everybody else, but I know I can't. But
Right.
then I struggle with that. So does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Totally makes sense. And actually, I thought that that might be sort of where you were at just based on what you've shared in the past with this particular question. And I just want to make sure you understand that this is not a Lori failing. This is you can't, like none of us can. None of us can sort of do these things for other people that other people really have to do for themselves. And
Mhm.
it's tricky. And so for you letting go of this limiting belief, like, oh, this is my job. This is what I expect of myself in this sort
Um,
of on this human journey. I'm supposed to be able to jump in and make things better and easier for everybody.
exactly.
And
And I'm
and learning how to undo that, but not because you're failing at it, but because
right.
it was never something you could do to begin with.
That's exactly it. And I'm working with it. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. All
yeah.
right. Love it. Yeah, thank you. Um, Amy, you're kind of next on my screen. Do you feel ready to say something about this intro?
Yeah, well, yeah, a little thing came to mind that isn't so little, right?
Ooh, I
Mhm.
love that.
So,
I love it
um,
too.
it's the holidays, right? So here's okay. So here I see it. Okay,
Oh,
so
and where are you calling in from before you
from
get into it?
Baltimore,
Okay,
and
thank you.
I'm blessed to be as you all know, or some of you know, a relative. We're blessed that we have family that are friends and friends that are family. So that means you and I tying it, and sometimes our cousin Catherine. So it turns out we're having a Hanimus party with our cousins. And so I'm preparing for that. So I'm the one who's got the house and doing the decorating and the cleaning. And of course, classic, we have our electricity blows up, and then we have a leak, and then we have a flood, and we had everything.
My
We
God.
don't have heat, right? We're heating our house with wood right now,
Oh,
right? So
Oh
like
my
it's
goodness.
it's a lovely word called clusterfuckery. We're living it. We're living the life of
Mhm.
that,
clusterfuckery. Okay.
Oh my
So on
gosh.
top of that, I'm making Lockies, and if you've ever made Lockies, don't make them. Go to Trader Joe's, buy them, or just forget about it. So I'm just like doing all this stuff. So I said to the family, I'm not going to cook this week because the whole refrigerator is filled with libations, right? That I've been making, like, spiced wine, and then I'm so I allowed the party to be at our house. It's not our party. I'm doing all the this and the that. So I say to my family, I'm not cooking this week. My husband calls and he's eating in my ear. And we have no food in the house. Nothing. Nothing but like things to drink. And I'm like, what are you eating? This is what happened yesterday and the day before and the day before. It's like, what are you eating? He says, oh, lunch. I'm eating blah, blah. I said, well, I'd love some. Oh, it didn't dawn on me that I should call you and see if I should bring you lunch, right? So I, for 30 fucking years, have been feeding everybody. And for 3 days, nobody could figure out we have no food in the house. They go out to eat. And when they come back, I'm like, oh, did you bring me anything? Oh, I didn't think of it. Did you call? I didn't think of it. Like I call everywhere. Can I bring you home something? What would you like for
Right.
dinner? Blah, blah. So I know it's a little thing.
It's not a little thing at
Mm.
all.
I am starving. You know what it's like to be hangry? I'm hangry all the time. They're like, Mom, I don't know what's wrong with you these days. And I'm
Mm.
like, well, because so anyway, it's a little thing and it's not a little thing, but anything. Wait, that's what came to mind.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not a little thing, but I'm also thinking it's new probably for you to be so direct about this is the boundary. I'm not going to cook now. Like maybe in the past you would have either just figured it out and done it or not said anything. So I feel like you're doing a great job of letting people know and it's still not having a terribly like an impact. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but you know what? Also, I mean, we're products of our parents and our grandparents, right? So we shake off what it is that society is ready for us to shake off, right? Or embrace, right? I mean, I had my grandmother who did whatever she did, and my parents who did whatever. So, I'm it for now, the trailblazer of my own time.
Mm.
And then I think I also created the situation, right? Because I was the caregiver, I was the foodie, I was the um whatever I nurture. So I
Yeah.
created, and then when you have a just a cutoff date, nobody can, they just go off on their own and do
Yeah.
their thing, and they don't bring you along with it. And so I created that,
I,
right?
yeah, I think you're speaking to there's like a rewiring process
Yeah.
of like, okay, there's an embedded pattern that exists and it's not working for me anymore. I want a new thing. Sort of what you were saying too, Lori. You're saying like I'm working on this. It takes some time and being direct and being intentional and catching yourself and not falling into old patterns and all of that. And naming it can be so powerful and helpful. So I think you're in the naming it, transitioning, but it's not switching yet, but it will. As long as you don't give up and say, oh, forget it. I can't deal with the fact that nobody, or, that everybody wants me to be a certain way. I'm just going to be that way.
Mm.
Yeah. So thank you. Uh, Jamie, you're next on my screen, but I don't know if you're feeling like you can talk yet. All right. We'll come back to Jamie. Lizzie,
My turn.
what?
Is it? Oh, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Sure.
What is something that you feel is expected of you that's maybe not in alignment with how you're living or who you are at the core?
Well, prior to this meeting, I was at another meeting. I was at my group therapy meeting. And the leader suggested that when I don't want to do something, that um, she calls it take the off ramp.
Yeah.
And so, she asked me, does that ring true? And I'm like, well, I know what you're going to say. So, sure, that rings true. But I don't know what it is. I'm supposed to say what? I'm supposed to say what I'm,
Just sort of expectations. Like, what are some expectations that you are feeling pressure, feeling that they're out of alignment with who you are?
hmm,
So maybe just back to what you're saying. So you're talking about the off ramp and you're saying, like, yeah, there's a pattern that's been pointed out to you where you kind of want to not engage with whatever it is. So you take this off ramp and I'm reading between the lines, suggesting that you work on this. Yes?
yes.
Yeah. And is there something out of alignment with working on that? Like, is that an expectation from her that's not matching your own expectation?
I mean, I guess it is matching my own expectation. It, I don't know. I mean, it could be anything
Yeah.
that I want to avoid, that I
Hmm.
will go to lengths to avoid it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds almost like she's touching on something that is in alignment. She's helping you see a pattern that's out of alignment for you. That this pattern of taking the off ramp actually doesn't totally support you or doesn't serve you totally. There's a piece where you're losing yourself in that.
hmm. Yeah, I guess that's true, and I guess that's what she means by it. Um,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
just
we
what you
we were
said about what?
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say just what you said about like, yeah, it's not totally out of alignment what she's saying. It actually is something that speaks to me, like learning how to connect to what feels true. And I think it feels true to work on that, it
Hmm.
sounds like. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
I was just gonna say that uh, at the moment, I have an upcoming procedure in February to have some um, dead veins removed from my leg. So I'm sorry to be descriptive on that. I don't mean to be grossing anybody out, but um, I was just expressing concern about it, and you know, like I haven't come to terms with it yet, and am I really going to do it? Things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, I'm not quite sure where to jump in with that. Let's just kind of know that that's hovering. That's part of what you're dealing with. And if it sort of relates to the discussion, bring it back. But I think right now the intro part is trying to navigate how do I take good care of myself? What's true for me? What's not true for me? That question
Hmm.
is what I'm hearing. So, thank you. Carrie.
Hi, it's me. So mine, it feels like I'm kind of relating to both Amy and my mom, Lori, a little bit. So this week I got a little bit frustrated. Tanya, you know this. I go to trivia every Tuesday with my friends and my mom was. Also, my mom killed it. I was phoning a friend
Woo!
in. She was doing great. It was Christmas movies. But I got mad because like I was confirming with everyone, which also we're adults. We're early to middle to early 30s, right? So we're adults.
Hmm.
I have to confirm with these people to make sure they're like coming, like me, like hello, trivia tonight, like whatever. Then I got a little frustrated because they're like, oh, I don't even like Christmas movies. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't like The Office. Like, I didn't like, I don't know, Taylor Swift. And I'm sorry if any of you guys like this stuff, but like, I just, I show up for topics that I'm not interested in. It's like, because it's fun. Like, I want to have fun with my friends. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So then I was like, and then I got to trivia, signed us all up, whatever. And the guy's like, oh, you guys don't have a cute name? I was like, no. I can barely get these adults here on time. Like, no. So I'm like tapping out like you, Amy. Like, I'm not cooking. I was like, no. I don't even know our name. Let's see if they put one. No,
You're not going to carry everybody.
no. Carry
Carrie's not going
anyone.
to carry everybody.
No, I'm not. Like, and I think I also like you, Amy, kind of created that problem a little bit. And because I wanted them to come, but at the same point, I want that support. They know I love Christmas. My friends
Mm,
know. So I wanted them to be like, yes, of course we're gonna show up. Lovely,
mm.
see you there. Like something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Not like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not even blah, blah, blah. I don't know. So I was a little butthurt.
So
It's like,
in this one, Carrie, the focus for you is not that this was necessarily intended to make a decision about what you're going to work on, but I always like to understand, like, what does
kind
that
of.
mean for this in terms of maybe letting something go? So you're not going to jump in as much as even though there's a
Yes.
wish connected to that. The wish is, I wish that people would show
Mm-hmm.
me a little bit more like easy love, like this feels too hard, too much heavy lifting.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but
Yes.
either way, I'm going to let go because it's not working anyway. You're not able to control the outcome that you want anyway, necessarily. And then you get
Yeah.
resentful when you're carrying it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So you're right. I'm letting go a little bit. And honestly, I have another trivia place that's closer. I will go by myself.
Ooh.
I
Well,
don't care.
yeah.
So yeah.
So if they don't choose to put it in there, then they may lose you.
Oh,
That
I'm
may
out.
be you're already
That
out.
avoidant, no, 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 not
Oh,
yet,
okay.
not yet. But
Okay.
so what I'm
Got
working
it.
on is not fully tapping out avoidance style, like middle fingers up out
Right,
the
right, right.
door. I'm gonna see, and then if not, I'll quietly remove my presence
Okay.
and see what happens.
Yeah, I love that, but
So
paying
yeah,
attention to the part that you have fed into in the past and it doesn't serve you. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Thanks for listening.
beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I think I'm just going to wait till we see Jamie
I
because my
I
assumption.
can
Oh,
we can talk now. I couldn't unmute because it's different on the phone versus like the computer, so it took me a minute
yes.
to figure out
Okay.
how to
All
unmute. But
right.
we'll
Yeah. What
talk,
about
but no cameras because I'm driving.
Okay, what about you then, Jamie, for this question of like, where's a place where maybe you've felt pressure? And it's interesting, a lot of us are talking about pressure we put on ourselves. Not only, but that's a lot of
Yeah.
a theme here, pressure we put on ourselves to be a certain way, to match maybe expectations that either we've put on ourselves or we believe other people have for us versus who you are at the core, what your truth is, or what works for you now.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I'm calling from
Oh, yeah.
Northern Virginia,
Yes.
and I am both Tanya's and Liz's sister,
Yes.
younger sister. Anyway, and
Loves to
Love
I
say.
that so much.
wanted wanted to just sort of express one thing that I didn't even realize till I'm involved in my own business, as in my massage therapy business, how challenging the behind the scenes stuff is. Like, there's so much dedication and, learning techniques and going to school and getting licensed. And, there's so much focus on that. But the behind the scenes stuff is freaking hard. And I think it's an expectation that other people kind of look at me and they're like, oh, it sounds so easy. Like, not the massage part, but the schedule. Like, I'm doing, this week I'm doing 3 chair massage events and 4 massages. And people might look at that and think that's such a light schedule. But for me, it's just like, it's all the juggling and the in between stuff. And I'm, kind of kicking myself over um, that, okay, I'm not doing enough. But,
Mm,
in reality, I have to allow buffers and I have to allow, like decompression time and just taking a
Mm-hmm,
breath and just, okay, I had two back-to-back chair massage events, one late night and the next early morning, like, and
mm-hmm.
squeezed in other stuff in between there and social stuff. So anyway, I guess that's my challenge. Like everyone will be like, it sounds like such a, oh, that's so cool. You're in business for yourself. And oh, that's so cool. You're doing massages for other people. It must be, I'm now, working for a mobile chiropractor too. So anyway, that's my thought
Yeah,
and what feels like different expectation, even for myself,
yeah.
um, versus the reality of it.
Yeah, thank you. I just am thinking too about it's such a common place that people go, this comparison piece where people are like, well, everybody else seems to be able to handle it, which, by the way, I must say, I've had multiple conversations over the 30 years I've done this work with people about everybody else seems to be able to handle it. So that's such a common, or, to somebody, what you said, Jamie, to somebody else, maybe it's a light schedule, but to me, it's a lot. Like just to
Mhm.
not get into this comparison, but instead, what do I need? What's going to help me? And sort of let that kind of guide the direction. So, yeah. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you. And I have some talking points, but before I get into any of my talking points, I just want to hear for those. I know, Jamie, you said you didn't get a chance to finish. Did anybody else sort of not get a chance? Because I'm going to ask about sort of what might have been a highlight for you, but if you didn't see it all, then maybe, okay. So, Liz, Amy, did you get a chance to see it? Yeah, okay. And Carrie, you too. Okay, cool. All right, so I think I am going to go ahead, since a few of you did see it all the way through, just to find out what anything that stood out most for each of you that saw it, and then we can get into the talking points where Jamie and Liz can sort of pick up a little bit more. But let's see what stood out. I'm going to go ahead just around the screen. So, Lori, you're always to my left. I feel like you're often to my left. So, you're to my
You'd
left right
like,
now. So,
I feel like you
what?
like to go first, Mom.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
seem to
she's like,
mind it anyway. So, thank
Well,
you.
I'll forget it so fast.
okay.
That's what it is. But
So, was there anything in particular that really stood out
yes,
to you? Yes.
yes, and I watched it twice. I really,
Okay.
yeah. Um, the way that she's perceived as so confident, so together, and Posh Spice and David Beckham, but her inner self was so not that
Yeah.
self. She's perceived to be all put together, and that and then you find out for her own self that
Yeah.
she wasn't, and she
Yeah.
struggled with that. That's
Right.
yeah.
And what was the impact of that on you, do you think, Lori?
It's just like people, and maybe what Jamie talked about too. People don't always know the other side. People
Mhm.
don't. It's easy to say, "Oh, she's got it made or she's because of this," but reality is maybe not. Instead of
Right.
maybe not. So
Yeah. Like being human and like
yes,
the
yes,
actual journey is we
right.
make assumptions. And I think our culture is very enamored of celebrity and all of that. So
Everything was
we,
easy for her.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
and
was
she's beautiful, so of course everything comes easily. Like I
right.
think we kind of make these quick
Mhm.
we have these ideas about
Yeah,
what people's
yeah.
experience are. Yes, thank you, Lori. What about you, Amy? Anything in particular that stood out for you? Maybe she stepped away. Okay, we'll come back to Amy. Carrie, what about you? Anything in particular that stood out for you?
Yeah. So, and it also reminded me, like Victoria Beckham's story reminded me of Paris Hilton a little bit in a way. She also has a documentary, but it's the same thing of like, you see, I mean, it's a Hilton child inherit, like she has access and resources that most of us can't fathom, but like she still has these like struggles involved. So that's it's just like another celebrity that like is an example of like, or not celebrity, yeah, but an example of someone who you just never know. Like
Yeah.
you just never know. And
Mhm.
then I also like I liked her demeanor, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
Hmm.
Like I know I'm like kind of a gregarious, bubbly person, but I'm not like super open about like the very like dark things. But like so there's like the stoicism that I kind of respected of
Yeah.
like of how she presented what she was struggling with.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would
Um,
say for me too, the honesty and the way she spoke about like not smiling and how it's
Yeah.
hard for her and how she can't even imagine
Yeah.
leaving a restaurant and smiling. And it's like, wow, that like you can feel some of that too, how deeply it can go. But I really did appreciate that she was honest about some of those layers.
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Amy, was there anything for you that really stood out?
Well, I didn't mean to ghost you, but I actually took notes
Ooh.
and wrote a
Oh,
lot of
we love
things.
that.
So the question currently is about her, right?
Yeah, just about the documentary. Was there anything that stood out to you watching it that
Oh,
just
God.
rose to the top?
Well, I guess I was looking at it from comparison, right? Like, where am I
Mhm.
going? Not that there's
Yeah.
any comparison whatsoever, but the inner and outer life. And I think what really hit me is how hard it actually is to be one's authentic self. And
Mm.
especially when you've been really good at being something else. So she talked a lot about loving the theater because she loved to play a different role. But then
Hmm.
when it came to her being her, everybody only saw her in one vein and how hard it was for her to break out of that. Herself, right? To
Hmm.
believe in herself and but how everybody else had pigeonholed her into you're this because we only know you as this. And I
Hmm.
started to think how difficult it is um, to truly be yourself outside of yourself, right?
Yeah.
This is the self that everybody knows is comfortable with. We got this.
Yeah.
And the true self, it's so hard to go beyond that to be who you want to be. And especially when you have to recreate, you want to recreate
Mm.
and you've already been created. And not
Yeah.
all of that was her creation. In
Right.
fact, it wasn't her creation. She fell into it. And when
Yeah.
it came to her creating, no one could take that seriously because they couldn't wrap their minds around it and give her the space to become.
Yeah.
And so I think that that was and I didn't know her. I wasn't a Spice Girl person. Um I
Hmm.
didn't know the Beckham. I knew nothing, and I mentioned it to my husband. Oh, I know the Beckhams, and he goes off, and I'm like, how would he know? And I don't even know. I didn't even bother to ask my daughter. So
Mm.
I came in really blinded, right? I
Yeah.
didn't know anything, so I didn't even have a preconceptual,
Mm. Yeah.
notion of her
Mm.
and her journey and all of that. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was really my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to summarize for you guys is just the so she was a Spice Girl, if you remember that. That was like a pop star. She was posh Spice, and then she ended up marrying David Beckham, this very handsome soccer player. And but her true love was fashion and connecting to that journey. And I just, when she was going through in the documentary, I think she went through a list of like Jessica Simpson, who tried to make a go at fashion, like all these pop stars who are kind of like just trying to monetize, I think, their fame to get some fashion. Who knows? I mean, that's another assumption I'm making, but my assumption is that they weren't so true in it. There is a whole monetization thing that happens in celebrityism, but with her, there clearly joy, but the amount of work that she put into getting to the point where she was recognized as a full-on designer. And even the money problems was interesting because you think, oh, they have all the money they could ever possibly want or need, but then she spent so much and was so extravagant and didn't know what she was doing. By the way, even like what you were saying, Jamie, about starting this business and realizing there's all these layers you had no idea about. Yeah, that happens with I think every journey that you then become like on the inside with, you're like, oh, there's so many pieces to this I didn't know. And I think that happens. And so, yeah, seeing her journey, seeing that she almost lost her business, that she was being too extravagant and jumping in too much into it without, and she was successful even, but not in a monetary way
Right.
for a while until she figured out how to get a handle on it. So, yeah. Um, so there was a need to prove herself, right? Like as she was doing this journey, and there was, in her case, she definitely needed acceptance to feel like she achieved what she wanted to achieve. She wanted to be able to have a spot in the fashion world and spent a lot of time, energy, money, blood, sweat, and tears proving herself. I want to hear from y'all. Is there a way that you feel like you've had to prove yourself in any way that as just part of your journey?
Hmm.
I mean, I can share mine a little bit. I mean, what comes to mind for me is really the work that I've done over the years as a therapist and sort of that clinical focus and sort of this external idea of like, this is one school of thought, this is another school of thought, this is how we do things. And so I think there was a period of time for me when I felt like the external training and figuring out what all the expertise was where proving myself needed to happen for a long time. And I think letting go of that being a guiding force for me has been really important and big, and trusting that my exposure to human beings and this work has trained my intuition in a way that's helpful and valuable and does not involve checking externally in that same kind of a way. And so letting go of there being a proving myself aspect has been part of my journey. So, yeah.
Well, I can kind of relate in maybe a different type of way, but the
Yeah.
family oriented and even expectations of I was the daughter who was divorced and not, and the other sisters were happily married, and which in the end didn't always end that way. But I don't know but I put the pressure on myself a lot too, that I wanted to live up to their expectations instead of embracing, okay, well, you made a mistake, but
Mm.
that path led you to this path, so that's where I just always wanted to, I wanted to be the one like everybody else, like the strong one, or the just, in the whole entire family. And I was kind of like, was a black sheep. But now I figured out that being the black sheep was one of the best things that could have happened
Mm.
to get me to where I am in my life.
Oh, I love that. And I think you're talking too about like these narratives that we carry, right? There's a
Yeah,
narrative connected to divorce. Oh,
absolutely.
that's bad. That's a failing. That's
You
what,
failed.
all those things. And actually, and I think you just described this opening up like, okay, if I look at it in all kinds of different ways, can I land somewhere else? And I think what you were landing on is like, there's just so many different layers here. It's not as black and white as that. And there are ways that I've connected to myself as a human being that's been invaluable. And so I just am gonna trust that. I mean, that's what I'm hearing from your sharing.
Kind of like Victoria, kind of like she accepted herself
Yeah.
as, so that's what I kind of,
Hmm.
from it. So it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm
Yeah.
okay.
I love it. I love it, but it's a journey to get to that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
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 What about you, Amy?
I gotta learn how to do this. Sorry about that.
It's funny.
You know, I think something that I've recently started to realize, because I always struggle with the being and the doing. And
Mm,
I was very blessed to have had a very special brother. And it was always about his being and never going to be about his doing. He was born with Down syndrome, and, um, and so the world puts such a value on what you do and not who you simply are. And there's so many aspects of who we are, right? And so I started doing an inventory about that, and it came out um, in watching the documentary yesterday. And I was like, wow, people just see me, as a passionate lobbyist or advocate. And then I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm a foodie. You can tell by I'm packing it. But I was like, I dance, I sing, I do dry flower arrangements, I do this, I hike, I travel by myself. I do like there were so many more things about me that I
mm,
rather people identified with than the thing that I did,
mm,
for a living, or why can't you keep doing that? And
mm,
and so anyway, I just thought how again people look at what we do and not necessarily identify with our hobbies or our passions or you know um and that maybe that's more important to us right now than the person looking at us and what was important to them for us to be.
So I think I just want to make sure I'm following. You're really, I think, opening up this idea. We in our culture tend to be, what do you do? Like that's such a common question. And so I think you're talking about like there are just so many more layers to that. Like it's not just this work thing, part of who I am, what resonates for me, how I show up, all these other pieces, and opening that up to I don't know. I feel like it's not a proving yourself thing, really. It's trusting that there's more or something. It's kind of like you're I feel like you're turning the corner somehow from what our culture does and like, nope, I want there to be more to that. I want to share more of myself and I want there to be more of that connection with people. What else is there?
Well, I think it's about value. What do
Mm-hmm.
we value,
Mm-hmm.
right? We value
Yeah.
money and prestige and a position and things like that. And I know this is kind of morbid, but every morning I wake up and I read the obituary, right? And I'm play a game. Well, look how old they were. I guess how old when they were born based upon their name Martha or what, whatever it is, right?
Mm.
And oh, thank God it's not me. And oh, I don't have that problem. I have other ones. And and oh, they obviously they loved animals because it's SPCA. But I also look at what people said about them
Mm.
and what that family um, thought was they wanted to bring to other people's attention about that person.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking I'm going to have to write my own obituary because I don't trust my family to say the nicest things about me.
I
So
get
I'm like, I'm planning the whole thing out. I
it.
just don't have a date, right? Thank God. But and I don't mean to make light of that, Tanya. I don't.
Mm.
But um, so then you go about your living after you do that, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, sometimes I get caught up on what would people say and think, how would they have
Mm.
what would they say about me in those moments?
Yeah.
Versus what I would think or say about myself,
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
guess that's sort of and I guess you also get to a certain point, Carrie, I hope you find it much earlier than 67, um, which is, as we're getting older, you were in the fuck it phase. I
And
am,
it,
right? I had the
Mhm.
bucket phase. Now I'm in the fuck it phase, and that's longer than the bucket phase, you know. And the things that I say and the things that I do, and I think people are thinking I'm losing it, which is a
Mm.
great way to let them think. And I shouldn't be saying this, but right, because they're going to say, it's dementia, or that, I see my
Mm.
mom's changing, when in fact, I've become more fearless.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as long as they think it's like an external thing, they can't go, I'm really mad at my mom for saying what she said.
Mm.
Oh, I think my mom's losing it, by what she just said. So, you could, this shit could really,
Mm.
you could,
Yeah,
take advantage of it.
yeah.
So anyway,
So, yeah, I guess just to reiterate, even though I guess I said it before, but I think what you were commenting on is maybe even the narrowness of our focus of like, what do you do? And then sort of stacking things up of like, oh, what's something to be impressed with? What are we not impressed with? And how do we have to keep sort of focusing on something to impress people? And I feel like that's not the focus. What you're saying now, and maybe that was part of what you got caught up in because we often, probably most of us do, but now the richness of it, that's what I'm hearing. Just like, just being as genuine and following whatever speaks to you and letting that kind of unfold. So, yeah, regardless of whether people are impressed or not. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, thank you. Jamie, you are next on my screen. This idea of needing to prove yourself.
It can relate again back to massage therapy for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I always get the people who are like, I want really deep tissue. I really need like an elbow in there. You drop an elbow and use all your weight, or, and it's not always necessarily like the best thing, for that person, but I'm still learning it. So I guess
Mhm.
just, I don't know, proving myself and I've said this like one of my favorite phrases, and I keep on bringing this up sometimes. And I brought it up just this week too with somebody else, about some will like you, some won't, and so what? So SW, 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 and
Yeah,
that kind of sticks with me. So, but anyway, yeah, proving myself in a lot of ways to do with
yeah,
massage
yeah.
therapy.
And I love the SW, because then it's kind of like, okay, I'm busy proving myself. Will I keep putting my energy here or will I release that and decide, you know what? I'm not your person for that. I'm your person for this. And that's, I think, part of the journey, to figure out what are the things that are most in alignment and where is it feeling too draining to keep focusing on it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Liz, what about you? Proving yourself?
Oh, I already thought I had my turn.
Well, we went to another question.
Oh,
You don't have to, if you'd rather not, you don't have to. Would you rather pass on this one?
or TBD.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll check with
We could say
Carrie and then
TBD.
we'll come back and see if you have something you want to share about proving yourself. But this is really just focusing on the fact that Victoria Beckham had to really put so much energy towards proving herself. And even then, she got torn down by some people saying she was just posing and there's really the other designers' work and things like that. So, um, yeah, so there's just this idea of proving yourself. So, Carrie, what about you and this idea of proving yourself?
Yeah, so this first came up, and I know we're close to time, so I'm gonna like
Mhm.
kind of go a little bit fast. This first came up I've always looked like young for my age, but it really started to get in the way for me, like me personally, and mentally, when I graduated college and I started working as a manager for Marriott. So I'm also very small in person. I'm like 5'2", whatever, and I look young. So like, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many interactions from all the other departments. If you're like, why, who's this? Why are you here telling me? Like, I worked in the restaurant, and I needed something from the Starbucks, like coffee or whipped cream or something. And they were like, okay, well, we'll get it. I was like, okay. This girl gave me so much attitude. Then my general manager just so happened to come in. She's like, oh, have you met the new manager of the restaurant? So just like that's an example, right?
Yeah.
So, and then it started to get in the way personally a little bit. People I'm an adult, right? But people will pass over me when everyone's going around the room, maybe talking about like, what do you do for a living? I will like straight up get passed over because they think I'm not a working professional adult. Or then I'm like, or do they just not think that I have like a valuable opinion? Because I also like am like a gregarious, goofy, like wearing silly stuff. But so it took me a little bit to just like be comfortable with interjecting. Just like,
Yeah.
oh, just so you know, also here's what I do. Like I noticed you mentioned this, and
Uh-huh.
just talking and then presenting myself in the nice, smart, funny, intelligent way I know I can, and not
Yeah.
getting butthurt and just shying my way out of the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. Yeah. And noticing the trend and not sort of, I don't know, figuring out how to work with the trend. Like it is what it
Yeah,
is, kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I was like, I'll put some shoulder pads in my blazer. And it
Yeah.
weirdly worked. I'm not even kidding. The dress, like the psychology behind the dress code,
Oh my gosh.
the
Yeah.
shoulder pads for some reason
That's
did a
so
lot of work.
funny. Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Thank you. And then
Mhm.
Liz, just any last thoughts? Because we do need to wind down, but this idea of proving yourself, anything come to mind? Or feeling the need to prove yourself. I mean, I think.
Mhm.
That's a good question for sure. Um,
Yeah.
and all of you took a turn. I know
That's
that.
okay. No worries. You don't
Okay.
have to.
Oh, I prove myself.
Maybe it's something to sit with, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, why don't you sit with it? We're gonna wind down now. Carrie, do you want to say just a little bit about what's planned for
Yeah.
next month, which is very exciting?
Yeah. So Tanya and I were just talking. So next month, and it was actually a little kind of a loving suggestion from you, Tanya, a little bit. I hadn't even considered it, but we're gonna do a collection of poems. And we had done something a little bit similar prior where we did like a collection of like excerpts. I've never been able to say that, and quotes, but this
Yeah,
is going to be very like poetry focused. And Tanya reminded me because I have a poetry book, which we talked about somewhat here and there. So I'm going to share some of my stuff from that and some from other poets that I've been inspired by.
nice.
Hey, good.
So that's what we're going to do next month.
Yeah, yeah, very exciting. So, what we do have two, let's do a rapid fire.
Okay.
Just take away and just and if something isn't coming to you, don't worry about it. You're don't try and force it, but just any takeaway from the documentary. For me, it was really just keep trusting myself and trusting being human because I know that I found it inspiring to watch her be honest and human. So, and Lori, what about you?
I guess I took away so I just took away the point of don't assume. I mean, we're people
Mm-hmm.
that they're perfect, that they're, I mean,
Yeah,
just because I live in Arkansas doesn't mean that I mean, I think of stuff like that. Like when I say I'm from Arkansas, I'm like, oh my God, Arkansas. But like her,
Mm-hmm.
I assumed that her life was wonderful. And I assumed
yeah,
she was confident, she was beautiful, and she was smart. And she really struggled the same way we did, the same way
yeah,
I do in things. So that's what I took away from
yeah,
it. Don't assume because,
yeah. Love it. Yeah.
no,
Amy, any key takeaway?
I thought she was fearless,
Hmm.
fearless in the face of such judgment,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and for no reason to make those
Mhm.
assumptions.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Jamie, any takeaway? It could be from our conversation today. It doesn't have to be the thing.
Yeah, well, one part of the documentary I was able to watch when I was impressed with, a lot of people can do, and I think you touched upon this, Tanya, but like anyone can slap a designer label, like a name on something, but she was so involved with like, oh wait, this is a little,
Mhm.
let's take this in, or let's make this,
Mhm.
she was very specific about what changes of the actual look of the clothing that she was having created with her name on it. And it was impressive because she didn't take the easy way out, and you could tell she went above and beyond. And,
Mhm.
so that was just impressive. And that's, I try to do that myself, and it,
Yeah.
it was inspirational. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you. Liz, anything standing out to you as a takeaway from today?
I guess just saying what I mean, being more clear about it and proactive. I have one of my sons in town now, and I just asked him today, could we take a walk? Just low key, just take a walk around the neighborhood. And no, no blaming, because I was actually gonna miss this group because of when he wanted to take a walk originally. And then when he, took all his things to go to the gym, I realized, oh, okay, so he's left for a little while. So that would enable me to be a part of the group. But I appreciate how everyone is real. We're getting a sense of what your psyche is, and I'm getting a sense of that myself. And so, thank you.
Nice, nice. And I like saying what you want, asking for it, putting it out there, being direct about it. The four agreements, being impeccable with your word. Maybe we need to do the four agreements,
That's a
that
good
book,
one.
one
That's a good
time
one
to
for
be
me.
continued. But yeah, I love that. And Carrie, what about you? A takeaway?
I think that like it's not to beat a dead horse. I'm gonna go quick again because I know we're almost done. But like the assumption part, but also the deeply human part of it. Like those are like the two biggest takeaways. Like that you just can't assume, and
Mhm.
just like even if um we can't minimize our own things that we're going through, but we also can't like minimize someone's struggles like Victoria or
Right,
Paris Hilton or whoever, insert
Right.
someone here,
right,
just because they have access to X, Y, and Z doesn't mean
yeah,
Right.
they're not some struggling with God knows what.
right,
I mean, there's who knows all
yeah,
sorts of things.
yeah.
So yeah, and just
I,
knowing how deeply human we all really are. I saw a
yeah.
hand go up a little bit, Liz.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I've only been here for two sessions, which week of the month do you all?
It's the third Thursday of the month.
Good question.
Yeah. So it is the third, and we send emails. So hopefully you're catching the emails. And by the way, actually, I'm glad you said that too, because Carrie and I were just talking about once you're kind of in the group, you don't actually have to sign up each time, and you don't have to come, but we'll include you on the email list. So you'll always get the link and you'll always get the reminders. Unless you don't want to, in which case let me know. If you feel like I only want the reminders when I've signed up for it, fine. But, just let me know. That's totally fine. But like if you're in, so you all have been here now, you all will just automatically be on
Yeah.
the list and get the stuff. So you don't have to sign up for it.
Good.
I mean, we're always happy to know if you're planning to come, but you
Yeah,
don't
we do
have
that.
to. And
Yep.
if you can make a last minute decision, totally fine, and you'll have the links. So,
Yep.
yeah.
I like a reminder.
Yeah.
I'm glad
All
you
right.
like it. And then also with the next one, since well, we always do this, but we'll send you the stuff that whatever you may need to look at or
Read.
do whatever you want with.
Yeah.
Read. Yes, that's a good
Yeah,
word.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
read.
We'll compile. Carrie will put the poems together for us. And yeah, and this is kind of Carrie's show next time because she
Yeah,
chose them all, which is
I'm
exciting.
excited.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
All right. Nice. Thanks, you all. Lovely to see you all, and have a happy holiday if I don't
Yes.
see you, and talk soon.
Okay, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye.
happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Bye.
Bye. Happy
Bye.
holidays. Happy holidays.